John Harbaugh lost multiple positional coaches this offseason to jobs elsewhere and one defensive coordinator. Zach Orr replaced now Seattle head coach Mike Macdonald at D.C. Today, Harbaugh announced his new hires, 3 on defense. The Ravens now have their defensive line coach and Dennis Johnson from Baylor, Mark DeLeon at inside linebackers. He was at Kansas last season. Doug Mallory takes over as defensive backs coach. Mallory coached under Jim Harbaugh at Michigan, went to Michigan, even coached under Jack Harbaugh, their dad, at Western Kentucky. Travell Wharton, former Commanders O-line coach, is now the Ravens' assistant offensive line coach. Opening day roster decisions are quickly approaching for the Orioles. They've got a month until they break camp, with most of that work needing to be done with the arms and the rotation and bullpen. Now, due to injuries with Kyle Bradish and John Means, their timeline not fully known, but not expected for opening day. So 2 spots in the rotation are in question, and the O's will look at all their options, including top pitching prospects. One of those is Seth Johnson. He got 1 start today. It was a split squad kind of day. Orioles at the Braves for Johnson's spring debut, and Johnson tossed 2 scoreless innings, no hits, just 1 walk. Jordan Westburg making his case known to be on the opening day roster, with Jackson Holliday thinking the same thing, sends a line drive out of there. 1-0 O's in the 4th. The Birds had the spring power outfielder Kyle Stowers. Homers to right center, another solo shot, 2-0 O's. Orioles take this one in the split day, 2-1 over Atlanta. The rest of the roster hosted Tampa Bay, and those O's were handed their first L of Grapefruit League play, 8-3 to the Rays. Cianel Perez was roughed up 4 innings, just with 4 runs and 1 inning of relief.
We are getting ready for a warm-up over the next couple days, but as we head into the weekend and we start March, we're actually looking at cooler temperatures. 51 on Friday, then we start to see the rise. 59 on Saturday with a chance for morning showers. Then on Sunday, temperatures will be in the low 60s, and we're keeping that nice and warm trend into the following work week. Coming up, I'll have a closer look at our next weather maker and how long the warm trend lasts in my full forecast in about 20 minutes. Back to you.
All right, Jasmine, thank you. Coming up on Fox 45 News at 6 o'clock, a man claims to catch thieves red-handed in Baltimore stealing packages. He says he was surprised by the lack of response from police. As quality of life crimes continue, Fox 45 presses the mayor on how he's addressing them.
Residents speaking out about low-level crime in the city, how one man caught a pair of thieves red-handed. As quality of life crime continues, Fox 45 presses Mayor Scott on what he's doing to stop it. And a new bill would help students transfer out of failing schools. How lawmakers are working to help students succeed.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
Baltimore City residents say they don't feel safe in their neighborhoods because of what some call low-level crime. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for staying with us. I'm Mary Bubala. We have team coverage tonight of the quality of life crimes impacting our area. In a few minutes, Mackenzie Frost will have more on what the mayor is doing to address this issue. But first, Fox 45's Rebecca Pryor reports on a resident who says he caught a pair of thieves red-handed stealing packages.
Yeah, well, it makes sense that violent crimes such as homicides and shootings take priority for police as lower-level crimes, which affect more people more often, continue to surge. Some residents tell me they are still struggling to feel safe in Baltimore City. In the back patio of Larry Houtz's Baltimore row home, high fences protect his pond, the bird he feeds, and his sense of security.
We built this house like this as a sanctuary for us from the city.
A calmness that leaves him every time he leaves his front door.
Every day I come out to my car and I'm looking, worried that my window's going to be busted out. For the past 25 years, Larry says living just a few blocks down from the scenic walking trails inside Patterson Park provided a second oasis. But now, in the last 2 or 3 years, it has just gone downhill immensely.
A rise in property crimes.
Heck, the house right there that with the stucco there was broken into.
Most notably, soaring car thefts and break-ins.
By the Ukrainian church, dozens of cars broken into, windows smashed out.
Shattering his sense of security and trust in Baltimore's police department to protect and serve.
It's out of control.
Over the weekend, Larry witnessing what he says was two men sorting through about a dozen stolen packages along Patterson Avenue.
Holding stuff up, looking at it, putting it in another bag, putting the empty packages in a different bag.
About 20 to 30 minutes after reporting the incident to BPD,
they're still in the alley rifling through stuff. They had a lot of stuff.
Larry claims an officer finally arrived.
He says, "How do you know the packages were stolen?" I said, "Amazon packages?" And I said, "There they go, they're right there."
According to Larry, the officer never approaching the men, despite empty packaging still littering the ground and this photo Larry snapped of the alleged suspects in action.
So this morning, I called Internal Affairs to find out, what's going on here. Internal Affairs told me, unless the police see them steal the item, there's nothing they can do. And I'm like, what?
Other area residents raising similar concerns over the car crime.
I've had friends that have had their cars broken into, and I've heard from people that cops are barely pursuing it.
Many claiming unless a crime was clearly caught on camera, police not responding in person to file a report or investigate.
My friend was definitely pretty frustrated because, he feels like, he's not being protected in this city.
People just feel like they're being ignored and the police department doesn't care.
Former Deputy Commissioner Jason Johnson.
And that's a problem. And that flies right in the face of community policing, which of course is what everyone wants.
Saying an inadequate response from BPD, likely the result of inadequate staffing.
Unfortunately, right now, the police department, they just simply don't have the resources necessary to commit time and effort to, property crimes, quality of life crime.
With this city currently more than 500 officers short.
I hear it all the time about this crime being committed and this happening to this person and this happening to that person and nothing happening to the criminals.
Larry among those calling on city leaders to enact change.
They know nothing's going to happen to them. Do something.
As he contemplates creating a new safe haven.
We don't want to give it up.
Outside of city lines.
It's sad. It really is sad.
Now, I also reached out to BPD today for a response to Larry's claims that a police officer didn't properly investigate his report. I also asked them what the protocol is for investigating car thefts and car break-ins in the city. As the news time tonight, though, have not heard back. Reporting in Baltimore, Rebecca Pryor, Fox 45 News.
And as residents continue to speak out about low-level crime, some are losing faith in city leadership. Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost pressing the mayor today on how he's addressing these quality-of-life crimes.
The crime coming over the police radio.
Stealing a bike from his garage.
Former Baltimore City leader and now mayoral candidate Sheila Dixon, one of the latest victims in the city's crime trend.
My son called me on the phone and said
somebody broke through the door of the garage. He saw them leaving with the bike.
And she's not alone. Property and quality of life crimes impacting Baltimoreans across the city.
People don't feel safe, and it's very frustrating.
Fox 45 News digging into the latest data from Baltimore police, and the numbers speak for themselves. Homicides and non-fatal shootings down in Baltimore, but crime impacting communities' sense of safety, like car thefts and robberies, taking off. From January 1st through February 17th, the most up-to-date info from BPD shows 1,071 cars stolen in this city. That's an 82% increase compared to the same time period in 2023. And 2023 saw unprecedented numbers of stolen vehicles. Robberies up 14% this year compared to last. 418 incidents have been reported to police this year. Monday, while rolling out details for Baltimore's Book Festival.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Monday.
We questioned Mayor Brandon Scott on what he's doing to curb these quality of life crimes.
So are you going to change the way that you address quality of life crimes, given this continues to be a major problem for people?
We're going to continue to focus on that. We, as an administration here, as the police department in Baltimore City, have always been focused on quality of life crimes.
Mayor Scott touting his work to address other areas of the criminal justice system that he sees as part of the problem. But we pressed him again on what more he could be doing to search for solutions to a problem that he even says could impact anyone.
Do you think that it's your responsibility, though, as the mayor of the major city in the state, to be more vocal about what is and is not working at the state level?
I don't think I can be more vocal. Before anybody was paying attention to things like home monitoring, I was saying it.
While the mayor has talked about home monitoring concerns and bringing more communication to all agencies about when criminals are released, he has not been publicly in front of the latest push for change in Annapolis, especially when it comes to juvenile crime-related issues.
And what I'd rather have happen is that if they're going to touch the juvenile justice system, that then there are resources and interventions to make sure that that doesn't happen again.
Councilwoman Odette Ramos says working with BPD to continue patrols is key.
Are you satisfied with where things are in terms of the number of quality of life, property crimes in the city?
Well, we shouldn't rest on our laurels. You know, it definitely has increased.
But is not giving the current administration a positive review of the current quality of life crime crisis. Meanwhile, this crime map shows how widespread these property crimes are. Those dots only represent crimes from the last 7 days. Zooming into that area near Patterson Park, one of Baltimore's gems.
I'll illegally park on the smaller streets before I'll park on Patterson or Eastern.
You can see the impact of these quality of life crimes. Last week alone, Fox 45 News finding 62 piles of shattered glass dotting the park's perimeter.
It's a bad look for the city. It makes it look disgusting.
But Mayor Scott continues to tell his constituents the problems stem from other broken parts of the criminal justice system.
Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
Tonight, a push from some lawmakers to give kids stuck in failing or even dangerous schools a way out. It is called the Right to Learn Act. It would give students across the state school choice and the chance to transfer out of a failing school. The bill classifies a school as failing if it has been given a 1-star rating for the past 3 consecutive school years. Critics say the bill could lead to overcrowding in popular schools that are thriving and wouldn't give schools time to improve. Republican delegate Mark Fisher, who supports the bill, says those schools have been given enough time already.
Maryland spends and has been spending for more than 20 years a record amount of money on public education. And we redistribute money from the wealthy suburbs to those areas where, the schools are having issues. And that is an incredibly important thing to consider. So after 3 years, we're really not even talking about just the 3 years of 1-star school. These same schools have had issues for a couple of decades. And so enough already.
And the push comes as city schools continues to miss performance standards. State test results last year found 13 Baltimore City high schools had 0 students test proficient in math. A jury is seated in the trial for a suspect in the murders of Baltimore police officer Keona Holly and Justin Johnson. Elliot Knox is one of two men charged with murdering Holly and Johnson back in December of 2021. Holly's sister, mother, daughter, and other relatives left the Baltimore City Circuit Courthouse together today and spoke about what the trial means to them.
It means that we are finally able to get justice, and then we know that we're going to be faithful and justice will be served. We're going to leave it over to God, let him do his work, and then we're going to wait until the end of the trial to see what happens.
Knox was charged separately with the murders of Officer Holly and Justin Johnson, but will face a joint trial for both crimes. Knox's attorney and the prosecution both declined to comment until the trial is complete. Opening statements are tomorrow morning.
We're following some breaking news tonight. Manhattan prosecutors request a gag order in Donald Trump's criminal hush money case. They want to stop the former president from publicly disparaging potential witnesses, court staff, and family members of lawyers and staff. Prosecutors say Trump's comments have resulted in hundreds of threats to the New York DA's office. Trump is charged in New York with falsifying business records relating to hush money that he paid to adult film star Stormy Daniels. Now, prosecutors filed other motions, including a request to restrict Trump from knowing the addresses of jurors. This is a developing story. Stay with Fox 45 for the latest updates on air and online.
I'm Kayla Gaskins in Washington. If Congress takes no action, the government will partially shut down by Friday night. Coming up, how close are lawmakers to a solution?
And now you can watch Fox 45 News for free anytime on Amazon Fire TV or Samsung TV Plus. %20 of the government will shut down at midnight on Friday if Congress doesn't take any action on spending. It is the fourth time since September lawmakers have been up against this type of deadline. Sinclair national correspondent Kayla Gaskins has the latest on the debate.
Lawmakers returning to Capitol Hill this week have their work cut out for them, with yet another federal shutdown looming and no signs of a solution.
And we need to be thinking about the $34 trillion in debt that we are at right now. So we have to be physically responsible.
The task growing increasingly difficult after congressional leaders failed to reach a deal this past weekend. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer pointing fingers at House Republicans in a letter to Democratic colleagues. House Speaker Mike Johnson firing back, calling Schumer's letter counterproductive rhetoric, adding Republicans are working in good faith to reach an agreement. Johnson also facing intense pressure from the hardline conservative House Freedom Caucus to secure policy wins in exchange for their support.
My position to my colleagues on Capitol Hill is clear. You either secure the border or you get no money for the government.
Former Speaker Kevin McCarthy lost his gavel in a similar situation last fall.
Well, the government shutdown's not ideal, but it's not the worst thing. It would be worse to exacerbate the problem, to further increase our debt and our spending, to continue to fund a government that's facilitating the border invasion.
Democratic Senator Mark Warner pointing out this isn't a game. Federal workers will miss paychecks, adding House Republicans need to stop gambling with hardworking Americans' livelihoods. President Biden now stepping in, calling the congressional leaders of both parties to the White House for a meeting Tuesday.
Senators came back on Monday, but the House doesn't return until Wednesday, leaving only 3 days for lawmakers to find a solution to avoid a partial government shutdown by Friday night. Congress has until March 8th to fund the rest of the government. In Washington, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
Meanwhile, on the campaign trail, fresh off her loss in the South Carolina GOP primary, Nikki Haley loses a big donor. Mega conservative group the Koch Network says it will stop supporting her financially, instead diverting resources to Senate and House races. Haley says she's still in the race despite this weekend's loss.
I will continue to take the cuts and the bruises and the pain and the insults because I think America's worth it. All I ask is that you stand with me as I do it.
Fox News reports that Haley is still bringing in lots of money. Her campaign raised another $1 million since the South Carolina loss. That cash is allowing the former South Carolina governor to stay on the trail despite her losses.
We're taking a look over Baltimore and over Towson, where it's been nice and quiet with spring-like temperatures. On the HD radar, not too much to see. However, we are getting ready for our next weather maker, and that's going to bring a big change to the region tomorrow as we get ready for rain. So you certainly want to make sure that if you will be driving tomorrow afternoon, that you are staying prepared for that rain. Now, currently, temperatures are in the mid-50s, mostly cloudy over Baltimore. Light winds out of the southeast, only around 3 miles per hour. We're seeing temperatures in the 50s and 60s across Maryland. It's been a gorgeous day, more spring-like temperatures rather than winter-like numbers. We're still nice and dry on the satellite and radar. However, there are a few showers to our south, and some of those could clip our state overnight. It's the afternoon, though, when we have a better chance for rain. First, our temperatures drop to the 40s for a mild start to the day. Then by the afternoon, high temperatures reach the mid-60s. We have the chance for scattered showers. We're looking at 67 on Wednesday with numerous showers around the state. We'll dry out by Thursday. However, it will be much cooler. It'll feel more like winter as February comes to an end. On the future scan, notice that we start with dry weather tonight, but there is the chance for an isolated shower around midnight. Once we get closer to sunrise, we stay nice and dry. It looks good as the day begins tomorrow. By the afternoon, scattered showers move across our region as we get ready for that next system. The rain continues overnight and into Wednesday morning. If you'll be driving on the roads, just be prepared that there may be some light rain. By the afternoon, we're talking the chance for heavy rain and gusty winds, all as the next cold front moves across the region. There could even be some flurries in western Maryland where temperatures will be cooler. All of this is going to clear, though, as we head into Wednesday night. Thursday morning starts off with dry weather and plenty of sunshine, and it looks good for the afternoon with lots of sunshine. However, it's going to be cooler and a little bit breezy. Rain chances will increase through Wednesday. Then on Thursday and Friday, we stay mostly dry. We'll have the next chance for rain overnight leading into Saturday morning. Then after that, dry weather through Sunday. Monday will bring another chance for scattered showers. So a very unsettled pattern over the next 7 days. 46 for the low temperature, and that's followed by a nice warm up tomorrow. I'll let you know how long the warm trend lasts coming up in the exclusive 10-day forecast.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
A viewer sent us these pictures of ice shoves along Lake Michigan on Sunday. Ice shoves occur when currents in the water pile up chunks of ice onto the shore. They're beautiful, but they can damage docks, piers, or even homes if they're too close to the water. And this photographer got right to the point over the weekend with this shot of the Washington Monument and the snow moon.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
A closer look at policies that allow undocumented immigrants who commit crimes to remain in the country. I'm Christine Frizzell with new questions sparked by a horrific murder. Both Donald Trump and President Joe Biden are headed to the southern border on Thursday. The visit comes just days after the horrific murder of a young woman in Georgia. The top suspect now confirmed to be an illegal immigrant. Sinclair national correspondent Christine Frizzell has the story. Friday's arrest of Jose Antonio Ibarra was not his first time in police custody in this country. Detained first in September 2022 after entering the country illegally, then paroled and released. A year later, the Venezuelan national was arrested again, charged with child endangerment, plus a motor vehicle license violation in New York City. ICE has confirmed Ibarra was released before a detainer could be issued.
This goes back to why do local and county and state authorities need to be able to communicate with ICE? This is exactly why.
Students and members of the Athens community gathered to remember 22-year-old Laken Riley, a nursing student who an autopsy revealed died as a result of blunt force trauma to the head. Police